Awesome. Hey everyone, we are here with Mack Mallett. I'm so excited to have her with this great idea that she started called Retired Athletes Club. Mack, give us a little bit about your background. Like,
Yes.
when did we start playing sports? What's going on
Mhm.
with that? But tell us about
Yeah.
yourself.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I started playing sports as early as I can remember. I want to say 3 or 4 years old. I did basically as many sports as my parents would let me. Mainly, I would say soccer, hockey, and lacrosse was kind of just growing up what I liked to do. And then obviously getting into high school, I kind of started to specialize in hockey and lacrosse, and then ultimately chose hockey to play in college. So I played at Salem State University, D3 in Massachusetts. I did a 5th year, so I was a very old senior. But yeah, I had a great experience, had a few different coaches, but all around, I had a great athletic experience. And then obviously, when it ended, things got a little dicey. And I had some identity issues, which kind of led me to creating Retired Athletes Club.
Yeah, it happens all the time with athletes. And I think that's one of the things we'll definitely talk about today. But hockey, what a great sport for women's sports. It's growing a ton.
Oh my God,
Um,
it's crazy how much it's growing. Even from, I mean, when I was a kid, I was probably one of like 3, 4 girls in like my school or my town that played hockey. And just to see how it's changed from when I was a kid to now was crazy. Especially having like a professional women's league now. I just never
I
thought that
know.
would have been the case as a kid. So it's crazy. It's awesome. But
Yeah, and it's happening with a lot of women's sports like volleyball, softball, lacrosse, all
yep,
getting professional leagues, which we love to
totally.
see. But I feel like hockey actually was one of the ones more on the forefront of it a little
Yeah.
bit. So how was your like overall recruiting process and what made you pick hockey specifically?
Well, I come from a hockey family, so I think that always kind of plays into it. My dad played professional hockey growing up, and my brother always played hockey, and I just kind of followed in his footsteps. So he's older than me, so when he started playing hockey, I was like, all right, I guess it's my time to get involved. And I just kind of fell in love with it. I mean, it's obviously a pretty unique sport, like it's not like a typical field sport, just like being in the rink, growing up in the rink. I always loved that, and I just kind of fell in love with just being on the ice, I guess. So yeah, I think I was kind of bound to get involved with it, just given my family and stuff. But yeah,
I feel like that happens. That is like a very common answer for hockey players. Like
yeah,
it's just like, oh yeah, it's just hockey is life, and
right,
that's like what I do.
exactly. Yeah, usually it's like you always follow in someone's footsteps because it is like, I mean, it's an expensive sport and it's investment. So like sometimes people aren't just like on a whim, like, oh, let me play hockey. Usually it's like you kind of have someone in your family who does it. So.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite women's professional team that you kind of cheer for, or men's
I
team even?
mean, I'm from New England, so I'd have to say the Boston Fleet.
Yeah.
They're awesome. I mean, the Frost are also really sick because they just won 2 times in a row, but the Fleet are my team.
There you go. Love that for you. Awesome. So talk to me about, you starting Retired Athletes Club and what the goal was behind that.
Yeah, I mean, I touched upon it a bit, but so when I stopped playing hockey, just kind of, being an athlete, I was just had overwhelming anxiety of all this time and effort and thoughts, and everything I kind of did with my life was shaped around hockey and just being an athlete. And I didn't even really notice it until it was gone. And, I have all this free time all of a sudden, and, working out looks different. My schedule looks different. My social interactions look different. I was on a team. I was in a locker room every single day. And now it's like, you just kind of, on your own in a sense. You graduate and you leave that world, and it's just really different. And so my whole senior year, or my 5th year, I should say, I was kind of having these thoughts of like, what am I going to do when hockey's over? Like I was just had this impending doom almost. And I didn't say anything to any of my teammates. And then after our final game, we were all just like bawling our eyes out on the bus ride home. And I kind of realized in that moment, like, all right, they also are kind of stressed about like what's next to come. Maybe I'm not the only person involved in this. And then I just thought about, I go in and I get dressed and I put on all these sweatshirts and they're all from my college. Like, what if I had a sweatshirt that was just like, I'm a retired athlete. And I love apparel. I love making stuff. So I guess I've just been able to combine, my passion for athlete mental health, apparel, style, creating stuff, and making Retired Athletes Club.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah, I think it's such a great idea. Also went through the identity crisis myself. I think,
Yeah.
a lot of us have been there. low key, the toughest thing for me was like figuring out how to work out without being told what
Oh my
to
God,
do.
100%, right. It's like, it's the weirdest thing ever. You're like, wait, I don't have to technically do these like sports specific workouts anymore. Like, it's so weird.
Yeah. What do you mean I don't have a packet to follow? What am I gonna do?
Right. Literally, I know. Well, I also
Yeah.
I tell people too, like, if you don't know where to start, like, just keep doing what you were doing. I mean, it's better than nothing, because like it's
Right.
also crazy to think how when you work out, like the physiological benefits of that for your brain and the stress reliever, you don't even necessarily realize because you were forced to do it every day. And then you stop doing it and you stop working out and you don't realize that's actually contributing to your anxiety, probably because you're not releasing that energy and having that stress reliever kind of in your life anymore. So I think that's also challenging. And I also got involved, that kind of hit me too, was I wasn't really working out right after. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I need to get back into the gym and figure out what that looks like for me, because it's a huge stress reliever for me. So
Absolutely. And
yeah.
then how was, being a college athlete kind of translating into being an entrepreneur now?
Oh, it's helped major, I would say. I mean, obviously, as college athletes know, just having to, delegate your time and like prioritize things is major. I think that also comes with starting a business. Confidence as well. Obviously, when you're starting anything and you don't have any followers or you're not getting any praise, it can be really challenging. I mean, there's been times and there still are times where I'm like, is this really relatable? And I have those doubts, but then I get a message from somebody and they're like, this is awesome. And I'm like, okay, like putting back in my sales kind of. So I think being an athlete, 100%, you just know perseverance. And I think that's one of the biggest things with being an entrepreneur is just having perseverance, because things are going to go wrong. It's just, how are you going to handle when they do, if that makes sense?
Yeah. And then any advice for any college athletes mainly, but even high school athletes who are looking to start their own company?
I would say, like, make a plan, obviously. I mean, most business people will tell you to kind of make a plan, and like networking is huge as well. So think about like who who can help you, because you can't just do it on your own. I reach out to people all the time. So I think making a plan, utilizing your networking, especially as an athlete, like you don't realize how much networking you have, all the teams you've been on and stuff like that, regardless of if your business is going to be in the sports world or not. So yeah, I think networking, making a plan, and I'll honestly just doing it, because you can't wait till the moment when you feel ready. You just have to bite the bullet and just do it and go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agreed on that one. And then, as far as your product lines and everything that you have, what are we working with here? How many pieces of clothing, hats, like what do you have going on?
Yeah, so I have like on my website, I'm kind of starting to branch into like collections. So like the original is kind of just my actual logo. So it just has like the Retired Athletes Club and the phrase, still the player, with it. So that's my original line. And then I have like the vintage. So that's this hat that just has like the Retired Athletes Club, because I know the original logo has like a dead smiley face in it. And I know obviously that's not for everybody. If like a 60-year-old retired athlete does not want to wear a dead smiley face, that makes sense. So this one's a bit more muted, a little bit more chill. So this is the vintage, and then I just launched the washed up collection.
That's my favorite one. I just saw that today. Anyone who's listening, please go check it out. It's going to be linked in the article, but the washed up was my favorite.
Oh my God. When I first had this idea, I was like, ooh, like I'm like from, beachy town, like let me get a wave involved in this. And like the phrase washed up is just, obviously everyone knows it that plays sports. So part of my outlook was like, let's just embrace being washed up. And I knew that I wanted to incorporate a wave into it. So I've been waiting so long. I'm so happy that that's finally out. So, and then I'll do more down the line, more collections down the line that I'm brainstorming.
Yeah, that's great. Love it. But the washed up, I was like, oh, this is awesome. Love it. Not that I don't love all of them, but that was a particular favorite. Yeah, awesome. And then, with retail, obviously you have to deal with like inventory and everything else. Like, again, for another athlete who's maybe thinking about starting some sort of retail brand, any advice in particular to that?
Yeah. So as I kind of said, you like just have to bite the bullet and do it. I think you also have to try and just like learn your craft. And I knew I was going to get into this apparel world, I guess, if you will. And as a recent college grad, I did not have any money. So I was like, I'm going to make the t-shirts. Like I'm going to get heat press. I have a Cricut machine. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's like heat transfer vinyl. So I press the clothes and the sweatshirts myself, because all these websites, when you go to get apparel, they all have minimums, and it's just expensive, to be honest, if you don't have a massive following. Obviously I'm trying to get to that point where I do. But starting off, it was just the most cost efficient for me to kind of learn it myself and do it myself. So I just kind of make to order, if that makes sense. So I just have a small inventory in my house. Obviously I live at home, so I'm like, mom and dad aren't going to let me have a whole factory in the house, but so I have a small inventory in my house. These hats are embroidered for me, obviously, but mainly I'm still making the shirts and sweatshirts myself. So hopefully at some point I can get that outsourced, when I have enough of, a following and orders and whatnot. But that just kind of speaks to the point of just jump into it and do it. And I knew I wanted to kind of learn how this whole process worked. So I just did a very hands-on approach, clearly.
Love it. I love that for you. And then I guess what's been like the toughest part about starting your own company and being an entrepreneur?
I would say, I guess, just maintaining that perseverance and confidence when it's kind of quiet and you're the only one, because obviously it's a one-woman show currently. So I think obviously all like the good stuff, I have a video that's getting a lot of views and I'm getting a lot of comments and people are reaching out. That's great. But there's also times where it's like you're hitting hurdle after hurdle, and you're not seeing any money or any reward kind of, and it's not, your video's not getting any views, stuff like that obviously is kind of tough to work through. But I think mainly just maintaining, perseverance and confidence, even when things are a bit, quiet, would be the biggest struggle that I would have.
Yeah. And I think it's great now too with NIL. Like when I was in college, technically speaking, you wouldn't have been able to start a company like this and promote it on social media. But now that NIL has changed, I mean, I know it's a little crazy right now, but at least athletes have the opportunity to do this. Totally. So I think that, I think it's awesome. So love the fact that that's changed for us.
Definitely.
And I'm also a former D3 athlete. So what was your favorite thing about being a D3 athlete?
Ooh, my favorite, I mean, I think, I don't know if your school was big or whatnot, but I think a lot of times it was small.
I went to Skidmore in Saratoga Springs.
Oh yeah.
So not very big. Yeah.
So I think with that, I think comes like a tight knit athletic community. So like we would all go to each other's games. We all knew who each other were. So it was definitely like a close knit community. A lot of athletes that play D3. I don't know how many, but you have the opportunity to play two sports. So there's a lot of dual sport athletes. I think that's really awesome. Oh, nice. Congrats. That's sweet. Obviously, I mean, it's not as much of a time commitment as D1. So I think some kids that play D1 maybe burn out quicker. So you do have that flexibility of, still having a life, I guess, if you do play D3 sports. So yeah, I love D3 sports.
Yeah, same. I was a big fan. And I liked the smaller school.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah. Same.
Small class sizes.
Yep. I did not need to be in a big auditorium with
no,
that would be a nightmare.
For me, I agree. I would be like, what am I doing tonight?
Literally.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, let me know, what handles are people following you at? Is it different on platforms? Are you, same across the platforms? So like, let's talk about like what socials you're on and how people can follow you.
Yeah. So at Retired Athletes Club on Instagram and TikTok, www.retiredathletesclub.org for my website. And yeah, that's mainly, I would say those are my two kind of main sources of social media. I'm trying to get a lot more active on them, get more content going up there. So yeah, those would be my two handles. It should, at Retired Athletes Club. I'm just trying to make sure. Yes, that's it on both of them.
Awesome. And then we will link everything in the article below for anybody that's watching.
Yes.
So it should be pretty easy to click, get through to the site. And then any like recommendation for people who are like looking to buy, is it unisex fit? Like what's the fit? Does it shrink? Is it already shrunk? Like talk to me about that before we finish up.
Well, before I forget, I have a 2-a-days discount code for anyone listening to apply at checkout.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Love that.
So anybody applying or checking out, apply that at checkout. But as for fit, I would say pretty unisex, honestly. Pre-shrunk, Yeah, I would say unisex fit. I have some of the sizing on the website. I also have a pretty lenient return policy. So if you get something and it doesn't fit, you can just send it back. I pay for the shipping on the returns. So yeah, I would say unisex fit, pretty standard. I'm like a medium or large. So yeah.
Cool. Love it. Yeah, I got to get my husband some stuff too. He's a former
Oh,
college
yes.
athlete. He's a big guy, so I'm trying to figure out, do I go XL, double XL? What do I do? So I don't know.
How tall? How tall is he?
Yeah. He's about like 6'3".
I would say
260,
XL, double
270.
X. If he wants
Yeah.
oversized, double X.
Okay. All right. All right. We'll strategize. All right, cool. Thank you so much for your time today. It was great. And then hopefully everybody listening, we will link the 2-a-days coupon code, which I'm super excited about. I'll go buy some stuff. And thank you so much. Appreciate
Awesome.
your
Thank
time.
you so much for having me. This was awesome. Thank you.